Hello and welcome to Weather or Not. I'm your host Connor Freidhoff alongside my forecaster Kyle Eck here on our very first show here on Weather or Not. We'll be working alongside Dana Osgood and Caroline Castora. Now Kyle, you have a very interesting forecast for us leading into the weekend.
Yeah, so lately we did get some beneficial rain, but unfortunately I do think we see a whole lot more in the way of sun and heat to round out the month. But I'll get more into that later. Connor, what do you have to tell us in your Nature in the News story that's pretty interesting?
Lots in the news this week as we're approaching a major anniversary to quite an impactful hurricane that left a big impact on how we respond to hurricanes, as well as a new correlation found in scientific studies between extreme heat events and mental health.
Yeah, and I'll be getting into more of the fall foliage, getting you a sneak peek of what to expect for autumn, not only here in Happy Valley, but also abroad over in the Arctic regions in Alaska. But with that, you guys, let's get into our Nature in the News.
This week marks 30 years since one of the most destructive and influential tropical systems struck the United States. Hurricane Andrew left a path of decimation that remains fresh in the minds of southern Florida residents. The storm claimed 65 lives and cost $55.9 billion in today's money. Peak wind speeds were measured at 170 miles per hour. Local meteorologists observed Andrew rapidly strengthen from Category 1 to Category 5 intensity in a span of just 36 hours. Andrew also made landfall in Louisiana at a Category 4 strength. The legacy of Andrew lives on today in the improvements made to FEMA at the time, as well as exposing outdated building codes that undermine Florida's vulnerability to hurricanes. Research and development towards updated technology and loss prevention also resulted from the aftermath of Andrew.
We're used to seeing those trees show those gorgeous yellows, oranges, and reds through mid-autumn, but how about watching the leaves change color during the month of August? Yeah, as Alaskan summer comes to a close, fall foliage is breaking out across the 49th state and spreading over the Arctic region fast. This is all thanks due to the yearly transition from polar day, lasting from mid-May through early August, to polar night, spanning from mid-November to late January. Now, the onset of fall foliage signals the fast turnover of long, mild summer days to seemingly never-ending, frigid winter nights. Now, blink and you'll miss it. Alaskan fall foliage generally lasts only 2 weeks, and by early September, most trees, at least through inland and northern parts of the state, will have evolved past peak color, but don't feel so bad for Alaskan residents, as the aurora borealis typically gets going for them again during mid-September.
Extreme heat remains a hot topic, but for more than you'd think. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Human Development analyzed the effects of climate change on mental health. Since 2018, multiple studies have concluded that an increase in temperature is linked to higher frequencies of fatigue, aggressive tendencies, and even suicide. Dr. Nick Obradovich also concluded that these increases coincided with the rates found already in hot regions. Statistically speaking, the study found that from 2010 to 2019, there was an 8% increase in individuals seeking mental care on the hottest summer days.
We love to see a tree's true colors come out during autumn as the days get shorter and the weather cools off, right? Well, in a warming climate, we may see, or struggle to see, one of Mother Nature's most treasured sights. There's two important factors that determine fall foliage color: day length and temperature. As days progressively get shorter in August, September, and October, trees get the cue from Mother Nature to produce lesser amounts of chlorophyll. You know, the green pigment and plants use to process light for photosynthesis. This, in turn, allows vibrant shades of yellow, orange, and red to transform the landscape. Cooler air also accompanies the changing of the seasons, but as autumn becomes warmer over time, many trees begin to delay changing of leaf color. The ideal conditions for fall foliage to occur are mild sunny days and cool but not freezing winter nights. Across much of Pennsylvania, look for this year's best colors to come during early and mid-October. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I'm student meteorologist Kyle Eck, here to help you plan out your weekend. So let's get started. we do have a low pressure center situated just off the Great Lakes. This does come with the threat for showers and storms, not only over the Great Lakes, but also stretching into New England and also into the Ohio Valley and stretching down near the Gulf of Mexico. This is associated with the cold front stretching back towards the Midwest, which does evolve into a stationary front draped near the Canadian border. Now, along with it, we do have high pressure system situated off the Atlantic coast. This is funneling a southwesterly flow of moisture streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. This does allow for a lot of humidity for places east of the Allegheny Plateau. Now, heading into Saturday, places that have seen showers and storms on Friday, unfortunately, you guys, it's going to be rinse and repeat. Showers and storms stretching all the way back towards Indianapolis. Again, with that low pressure center situated near Lake Erie, we do have the threat for showers and storms, not only for you guys, but also for you near the Pennsylvania-New York border and portions just off to the east. Now, for Sunday, luckily, it's going to kind of be topsy-turvy for us. It's going to be much drier west of the Appalachian Mountains. So places such as Indianapolis, Toledo, Ohio, you guys are going to be a lot drier. That's thanks to this high pressure system that's sinking south from Canada. That anchors itself in place, but that does push its threat for showers and storms on off to our east. So places along the I-95 corridor, you could be dodging some afternoon storms on Sunday. Now, to plan out our weekend here in Happy Valley, we start the weekend quite nice and warm with a high of 83 degrees on Friday, except for a stray afternoon or thunderstorm as well. Now for Friday night, we clear out quite nicely. We could see some patchy fog overnight for a low of 61, but don't worry, you guys, that does burn off during the day on Saturday. We'll go for a high again in the mid-80s. Now to point out, this is about 5 to 10 degrees above average, so it's going to be quite toasty this weekend. On Saturday night, we do cool off quite nicely into the low 60s. This is near average for this time of the year, but along with it, this comes with lower humidity, so we can go ahead and give the AC a break on Saturday night. But we'll have to crank that AC back on Sunday. We'll go for a high of 85 degrees, again, under partly cloudy skies. It doesn't get much better than this. Now, Dana Osgood does have a feature introducing some of the newest members of Whether or Not coming up.
As we start another semester of Whether or Not, it's time to welcome our newest members of the show. We have 2 seniors joining us this semester. Connor Freidhoff hails from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and we also have Kyle Eck from York, Pennsylvania. We hope that they both enjoy being on the show this semester and then they get a lot out of it. So give a warm welcome to our newest members. So first up, we have Connor Freidhoff. Connor, it's really great to have you on the show this semester. So why did you decide to join Whether or Not?
Well, I started making the foray into communications last year around this time, and at first, when I came up here in 2019, start my undergrad, I had no intentions of even stepping into communications, but I wanted to give it a shot to see if I really liked it. Turns out I did. I've been doing a few comm shifts, and I figured, this would be the next step, into more weather-based journalism.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you here in the communications side of things. So what do you hope to learn?
I hope to learn a little bit more about the investigative side of weather, as well as turning weather into more of a show format as opposed to just accompanying news, really.
Yeah, and we have a lot of great classes for that, Whether or Not being one of them. And lastly, so what are your plans for the future beyond Whether or Not?
Well, beyond Whether or Not, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I wanted to take this leap into communications to sort of see whether or not I wanted to, no pun intended, of course, whether or not I wanted to pursue this as a career or continue with a more operational path. I took the opportunity to participate in a volunteer internship this summer with NWS Pittsburgh. So I'm going to get the operational side as well as the communications side. So in terms of the future, we'll just have to see.
Exactly. That's very exciting. Got a couple of different areas that you could go for. So hopefully Whether or Not will help guide you on that journey into the future. So thank you so much for being here and looking forward to a great semester.
Thank you for having me.
And lastly, we also have Kyle Eck joining us on the show for this semester. So we're really happy to have you. And why did you join Whether or Not, Kyle?
So thank you for having me, Dana. First of all, I joined Whether or Not because, well, like you, I'm a forecasting and communications option in the major of meteorology. And alongside of Weather World, I thought this would be a really good course for me to go as I round out my senior year here at Penn State.
Yeah, there are a lot of options in the department for people who are interested in broadcasting, and Whether or Not is a really good one. So what do you hope to learn while you're here?
So I want to hone in on my forecasting and broadcasting skills because, as you and I both know, it's not us just being a computer set in stone saying, here's the weather for the day. We have to make it more personable for the viewer.
Exactly. I always try to apply my forecast to say, if I could explain this to my grandma, then I'm doing a good job. But if I can't, I might have to hone my skills a little bit more. But beyond whether or not, what are some of your plans for the future?
So I want to become a TV broadcast meteorologist, again, like you. So I feel being here associated with Weather or Not is going to be a great stepping stone as I jump out into the real world here in the next year.
Yeah, so I hope that we can help you in your journey along the way, and looking forward to a great semester.
Thank you so much.
We here at Whether or Not are really looking forward to a great semester this year. The show has been around for a long time, and we're all thrilled to continue the tradition. From learning to forecast, broadcast, and produce, we all gain a lot from the show. It teaches us how to work as a team, an invaluable skill in and out of the classroom. We hope you'll stick around for this semester, and as for today, we'll be back in a moment with more.
We've had quite a warm and dry stretch throughout the month of August. Now, does that continue? Well, let's go ahead and recap our weekend forecast. And, well, it does look very warm and dry, except for Friday. We could see a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm with a high of 83 degrees. Now, the mid-80s, we could expect that throughout the rest of the weekend. We don't get too much in the way of relief overnight. Look at that. Lows getting into only the low to mid-60s. That, again, is a little bit above average this time of the year. So things are going to be quite a bit uncomfortable as we round out the month of August. Now, does this real big-time heat continue throughout the month of August and heading into September? Well, let's see here. We do see a high near 90 degrees on Monday under partly cloudy skies, and we do start to scale back just a bit on Tuesday with that partly cloudy skies continuing with a high in the middle and upper 80s. But a cold front does move through on Wednesday that does bring the threat for some showers and storms, a high of 81 degrees. But we do take a sigh of relief on Thursday and Friday. Go ahead and say it with me. 3, 2, more sunshine is in the forecast for Thursday and Friday, and yes, 70s do come back into the forecast, so I do think it's going to be a dry but seasonable start to our September. Now, Connor Freidhoff does come up with our quiz answer coming up.
Thank you, Kyle. And now it's time for the Weather Whiz quiz. Today's question is, what anniversary is Hurricane Andrew celebrating this year? Is it A, 20 years? Is it B, 30 years? Is it C, 40 years? Or is it D, 50 years? If you answered B, 30 years, you are correct. Well, hopefully we don't have anything like Andrew coming in the near future anytime soon.
Yeah, of course. We've been pretty high and dry in the Atlantic for the past, 2 months almost. The National Hurricane Center doesn't have us turning active at least for the next 5 days, and let's hope, we can only hope, that continues throughout the rest of the season, right?
Yes, and as we enter the twilight of hurricane season, of course, we're going to have to keep an eye on the tropics, as we did last year. Had some late season activity.
Yeah, well, that's going to do it for us here at Weather or Not, you guys. It's been a wonderful time being able to introduce ourselves to the industry here at Penn State. And not only that, we get to continue this throughout the rest of the semester, too. So we're excited to continue to broadcast these shows to you.
Yeah, I, for one, thought this was an incredible experience.
I know.
This is a very new thing for me. I'm mainly used to doing communication shifts with Campus Weather Service, but in this format, hosting this show, it just gives me a lot to look forward to. I hope you feel the same, Kyle.
Yeah, of course. I'm especially excited to be able to more hone in my skills on hosting here and also becoming a better broadcaster as well.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
With that being said, thank you very much for watching this edition of Weather or Not. Have a wonderful day.
And we'll see you next week. Have a good one, everybody.